Let's have a look at these two drugs. So first of all, let's start with methylphenidate. And I promise you guys, this is the correct information. I've literally quadruple checked this all. On the presynaptic neuron, there are certain receptors and transporters. And I want you to imagine that these are different types of doors. And one of those doors is called DAT. And this is the dopamine reuptake transporter. And what this does is it basically takes the dopamine from the synaptic cleft and brings it back into the presynaptic neuron. And this door is constantly open. So it's allowing all that dopamine to go back inside the house as such. And then what methylphenidate does, it comes and basically shuts that door. So imagine all that dopamine is essentially just still outside, i.e. in the synaptic cleft. It's not being let back inside the house, i.e. the presynaptic neuron. Methylphenidate does work in a few other ways, but I want to try and keep it simple. And in terms of the way that it works with dopamine, this is essentially all it does. It's a reuptake inhibitor and it stops the dopamine being reuptaken. So now let's look at amphetamine. It actually does two things. So firstly, it does the same thing that methylphenidate does. It also shuts the door on that reuptake transporter. But amphetamine does something else as well. And the additional thing that amphetamine does is it can also get inside the presynaptic neuron to attach itself to the VMAT2 vesicle. I was talking about this in the last video, and this vesicle is where all the dopamine is stored. And amphetamine attaches itself to that vesicle to reverse the action. So instead of storing all that dopamine, it expels all that dopamine. To make this even simpler, I'm going to give you a scenario to help you understand how both of these drugs work. So imagine we have a house, okay, and there's something dangerous going on inside. And we do not want anyone in the house. That is the main goal. So we've got hero number one, which is methylphenidate. Comes over, shuts the main door. So no one from outside can get inside the house and put themselves in danger. Then we've got hero number two, who not only shuts the main door, but goes and looks around the back, finds another door to go inside. When they're inside the house, they find a room full of hostages and they set them free and help them get back outside. So I hope that made sense. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good analogy. So the main similarity between methylphenidate and amphetamine is that they both utilize any dopamine that's hiding in the brain and pushes it all out into the synaptic cleft. Amphetamine has an additional way in which it does that. But unfortunately for some people, these sort of medicines don't work. And there's a lot of reasons as to why. I mentioned in the last video I was going to do a part 2 to explain why medicines don't work for everyone. So I am still going to do a part 2. The reason as to why people might not respond to methylphenidate is also quite similar to why they might not respond to amphetamine. So stay tuned for that.